Before we get into more about iVoted and the Election Day concert, bring us up to speed on your latest book, which at this time is especially important for people to look at their career from a business standpoint. So tell us about it.
Definitely.
Mhm.
For sure. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it was information that I felt like explaining to people over and over. It's information artists always want from me, but I also think it's information that's out there. I've just never seen it put in order from recording to release. You guys know better than anyone, the music industry was set up decades ago before any of us were born to confuse artists. So if you're trying to teach that information out of order, that's going to be really confusing for the student and really confusing for the educator. So I just didn't feel like you should have to have access to me to get this information in the way that I want to present it. So that's kind of the first half of the book. And then the second half is, collecting all revenue streams. I was sick of taking on national acts and finding money for them. And on one hand, that's definitely part of a manager's job. But on the other, if that's happening to artists we've heard of, what about everyone else? So it was just really important for me to get this information out there. If it helped one person, I would have been thrilled. And the fact that I hear from artists every day about it and that they're sharing it with one another is, really means the world to me.
Well, what would you consider the one key item that musicians should be focusing on at this time with everything going on?
The same thing they should always be focusing on: data. Technology companies are the most valuable companies in the world because they have all of our data. And we as industry people and artists tend to just give that, to Spotify, Apple, MySpace, whomever, right? So the more email addresses, the more phone numbers, the more fan location artists can be collecting, the better. And now is such a great time to do it, actually, because it's a great time to educate yourself, start doing webcasts, and connect with your audience online.
Yeah, interesting that you said you brought up MySpace. Coincidentally, yesterday, I randomly logged into my old MySpace account because I had an alert saying I had to go to an old email account to reset my password for something. And then there was MySpace stuff in there. So I went to see what's still there. I mean, it's pretty much like the graveyard of images and all that stuff. But, the fact is it's still there. So,
well, I say that to make a point, right? Mm-hmm. It's like we gave data to MySpace, and then we gave our data to Facebook, and now we gave our data to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It just keeps going. We never seem to give it to artists. So that's exactly my point, is the more that artists and industry people, and by industry people, I mean retain that data for artists, mm-hmm. That's actually how they can build a long-term and sustainable career.
Fantastic. So yeah, actually, Sam's going to be talking about TikTok later on in the show. So this will be really interesting. I know he's going to be talking about some data and some economics behind it. But let's go back to the 2016 election, and tell us why you started iVoted at that time, and what was your goal?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm originally from Wisconsin. I'm based in New York City now. And the presidential election was decided in Wisconsin by 22,000 votes and change. It was decided in Michigan next door by 10,000 votes and change. I'd read that voter turnout was down in Milwaukee, where I'm from. And I was like, 22,000, that's our basketball arena. Why don't we put together some sort of sick concert and tie in voting? So that's what we did for the 2018 midterm elections. We activated over 150 venues in 37 states to let fans in on election night who showed a selfie from outside their polling place. All of these amazing artists performed: Billie Eilish, Playboi Carti, Maggie Rogers. We got all this great press that was totally organic. And it was just myself and an intern working on it. It was an idea that caught fire. So now we've pivoted, obviously, under the pandemic, and we've been inviting artists to perform via webcast. Fans can access the election night November 3rd stream by RSVPing with a selfie at home with their blank and unmarked mail-in ballot, or from outside their polling place. If you're not 18 by November 3rd, or you're not a U.S. citizen or ineligible to vote, you can RSVP as well. That info is on our website at ivotedfestival.com. And instead of just getting artists that we know personally, or that we hope people will like, or that we think that they'll like, we partnered with Chartmetric, and we've been reaching out to the top streaming artists in and or from each state. We're still not funded, although I'm leading a team of 175 volunteers, so there's a lot of passion this year. And so because of that, we focused on 20, 25 focus states where we can really make a difference on voter turnout. And through that, over 600 artists have confirmed, which unfortunately makes it the largest music festival to date, and is also going to smash the record for the largest single night digital concert in history, all in support of voter turnout.
I mean, that is just absolutely amazing. So, well, when you first did this, and I guess this is also in education in for entrepreneurship, is like you went out, you had this idea and this concept, and you presented it to the music industry, and of course, it's like, oh, we're going to go oh yeah, tell me more, or they want to see validation in it. So, what was after the first time in 2016? What was the music industry reaction? And then now it's like 600. So now you've quadrupled the number of acts. I mean, so how are you reaching out? Are people coming to you? And how can other companies or become partners or get involved to help?
Yeah, awesome. I mean, we're 4 weeks out, election day, so the festival and election day is 4 weeks from today. The best thing partners can do is to push out our RSVP link, which is front and center on iVotedFestival.com. So the more fans, we can get RSVPing, celebrating voting, the better, because, that's the entire point. So my pie in the sky fantasy was to activate the entire industry. We're not there yet, but we're definitely on our way. And I'd love to expand, further into sports, comedy, gaming, and beyond for 2022, because iVoted is absolutely not limited to music, but that's obviously who I am and what I know. So this is what I'm able to do to contribute to voter turnout.
Well, you also mentioned it's outside the music industry, and you have some people, an Olympian, I believe, that you have. Tell us about this, because you're bringing all different sectors together. So you have this cross-pollination, and which is fantastic, because you don't have to be in the music industry to love a music festival or a concert and support something for a good cause. So tell us about that crossover.
Yeah, definitely. Again, a lot of it is just kind of a natural extension of the music industry or my network. Living Color was a huge artist for us in 2018, and they wanted to do it again this year, but, live all over the place. I used to work with W. Kamau Bell. I knew he was best friends with Vernon Reid. So I was like, why don't we do a conversation between Living Color and Kamau? And everyone was super into it. So that allowed us to bring in comedy. And then I manage Olympic gold medalist Anthony Irvin. To be honest, Anthony's been pretty busy with his family this year. He hasn't been doing too much promo. The one thing we have been talking about is voting. So I was like, hey, do you want to do an exclusive video message for iVoted? And he was like, yeah, definitely. Even before the pandemic, we were talking to an NBA team about doing iVoted at an NBA game. So like I said, this is absolutely not limited to music by any means. And, what's happened with our pivot is that post-vaccine, when, we can't wait for venues to return, we'll be able to have a sold out venue, but then also webcast it for, additional fans who can't make the show. And the other problem that it solves for us is, we had two really major national acts in 2018 that wanted to participate in iVoted, but they were touring in Europe. So now they can do a webcast or exclusive message, and it just expands our reach further as far as voter turnout goes.
That's fantastic. And it's such an important cause. So finally, what is the one message besides go out and vote, because that is the key message that you want to get out to the people?
Yeah, well, since this is Music Industry City Network, our one ask is always for every industry colleague and friend to tell one other industry colleague and friend. And that's been very effective for us since we started this 3 years ago. So yeah, so check out iVotedFestival.com. Spread the word, and let's get as many fans voting as possible.
Emily, thank you so much. It was great to see you. Best of luck with the event. I know it's going to be a huge success. And for everybody else, if you want to find out more on how to get involved, we'll put the links down in the show notes below. Emily, have a wonderful day, and it's great seeing you as always.
You too. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, everyone.